I'm truly fascinated by time. Partially because in some ways it represents so much of what we try to accomplish here together each and every day. Like, how can we see the world differently? What are we missing? And how do our senses, our natural way of seeing the world, deceive us? And time explains this well, because the way that we perceive time is totally different from how it actually operates on the cosmic scale of space and time. Today, we're going to focus on how we experience time in our day-to-day lives, and also how cultures can vary super widely because of how they experience time differently. Because time and the finite, transient nature of life is something that we all share, something that we all have in common. But how we live, how we experience time, and the day-to-day experience of life itself varies from person to person. I mean, in modern Western cultures, we tend to think of time as a three-part structure: past, present, and future, with time moving in one direction, always forward, and never repeating itself. How about cyclical time, which we so often ignore in the Western world? Cyclical time emphasizes repetition, and it's highly influenced by the cycles in the natural world. Seasons, sunrise and sunset, high tide, low tide, day and night. And because these cycles repeat themselves infinitely, they can lead to a new way of thinking in time in cycles, going again and again, with time repeating itself over and over. And this is how many ancient cultures saw time, like the Mayans, the Babylonians, the Hindus, Buddhists, and others, saw time like a wheel that consisted of repeating events and experiences that happened to every human being between the time we're born and the time we die. And now, I didn't know this until today, specifically how we as a society largely shifted from thinking about time cyclically to thinking about it linearly. And as a result, it changed how we think, how we feel, and how we live. And it all goes back to Judaic culture, which was then later adopted by Christianity. And as a result, linear time spread throughout Europe and the Western world. You see, within the matrix of ancient religions and philosophy, life was seen as part of an endless cycle of birth and death. Time was like a spinning wheel, spinning ceaselessly on and on and on. But the ancient Jews began to see time differently. They saw time as linear, which was extremely unusual at the time. They saw time as having a beginning and an end. And as a result, people, individuals, were seen as having unique destinies, an idea that would inform America's Declaration of Independence, and a hopeful belief in the power of progress. The idea that tomorrow can be better than today. You see, author Thomas Cahill, who wrote a book on the shift from cyclic time to linear time, says that our sense of modern progress, our sense of forward momentum, of change, stems from looking at time linearly. But there's more. In a linear way of thinking about time, we think of time as money. You see, linear thinkers see time as something to be used and not wasted, with a high regard for schedules, a focus on the future, and time measured in small units. This is how we do things in America. But in circular ways of thinking about time, cyclical ways, things are different. You see, cultures that see time as cyclic believe that the cycle of life controls people and that people must live in harmony with nature, and as a result subscribe to the cyclical patterns of life.